Hello and welcome to Sofa Health Talks. As always, I'm your host, Liana Shangalaya. Hot topic of conversation today is all things about sustainability and skincare products. How many of you are alert to overconsumption of skincare products? Are you aware of order of applying your skincare products, the layering, what comes next? So we will be guided how to consume less, waste less, recycle, and make conscious, informed choice. The social media is overloaded with skincare routine from all the celebrities, influencers. For instance, a recent one about Gwyneth Paltrow's sunscreen application that had a lot of criticism coming from dermatologists and skincare experts. Social media encourages us to layer serum after serum, each containing active ingredients that may irritate skin or counteract each other entirely. We're urged to cleanse multiple times in the morning and at night, sometimes leading to flaky skin, irritated. All these unnecessary extra active ingredients may irritate your skin. We should choose the right ingredients, a combination of skincare that would match and would be more effective and absorb into our skin. For the success of waste management, the consumer engagement is crucial. A lot of skincare brands are dependent on consumers' demands. So if the consumers will make a conscious choice, that would make a huge difference in the skincare industry. Today will be joining us Meghan Maupin, who goes by Meg, is the CEO and a co-founder of Atolla, custom skin health brand that combines patented technology and effective ingredients combination. Without further ado, here we go with Meg, CEO and a co-founder of Atolla, a revolutionary custom skin health brand. Hi, Meg. Welcome to Sofa Health Talks, episode 11. Can you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your background?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to introduce myself. So I'm Meg. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Atolla. We are a custom skincare company that started out of MIT. Before Atolla, I actually worked in design and manufacturing. I worked a lot in mass customization and 3D printing. And then I went to grad school for a dual degree in engineering and business, which is where I started Atolla. And I actually wrote my thesis in grad school about sustainability in the skincare industry.
Great. So what are the environmental impacts of the skincare industry?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question because there are many. So I think the best way to look at it is sort of like the end-to-end product life cycle. And so it really starts when the product is being developed. So obviously it takes resources to make anything.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously there's an impact from the way that the ingredients are either created, farmed, sourced, etc. There's the impact of actually manufacturing them. So the process it goes through to however those ingredients are processed and turns into formulations. There's obviously the packaging component and the shipping. How does it actually get to a customer? Are they buying it in a store? And then the usage. And usually when people talk about sustainability, it starts with the packaging, the usage, and then throwing it away. That obviously has an impact too. Once that, package goes back into the environment, what happens to it? What happens to the product that might be left if you didn't finish it all the way? But really, I think that it's important. The impact starts with the product creation itself.
Mm-hmm. So it's good to spread awareness about it. Very much discussed these days. And for the consumers to be well informed and conscious about what they're buying would be very, very helpful. What are the ugly sides of skincare industry?
Yeah, I think there are quite a few. So I'll go with a couple of like the ones that I personally dislike the most. So one I think is the fear mongering. So the idea of like in skincare or skincare marketing, using fear tactics to actually sell more products to people. Like an example would be anti-aging. So like capitalizing on people's fears or insecurities about looking a certain way as they're aging and promoting things that are anti that. I really don't like that type of language. I think it's really damaging to self-esteem. And I'm really happy to see the rise of things like people posting unedited, unfiltered selfies and celebrating real skin to kind of combat this like anti-acne or anti-aging, or even sometimes even the words like non-toxic, because of saying something's non-toxic implies that anything that isn't that is bad. And so those absolutes I really don't like. I think there's also a real dark side to manufacturing in the skincare industry and the waste that generates. So if you think about the traditional model is mass production. So these really large companies are making hundreds of thousands of products that are sold in retail stores, and they're making big bottles of them. They're making them very cost efficiently because they're making them all at once. But if those don't sell, they get thrown away. All that product then goes into the environment. Or people are buying huge bottles, it doesn't work for them, and they throw it away unused. And I think that that's a huge problem as well, just the manufacturing of skincare products, and also connecting people to the right products and formulations so that they're actually using them. Because what I call like a skincare graveyard is very common. All the products you bought and you used once or barely used, just sitting in your cabinet, those eventually get thrown away, and it all kind of perpetuates the like waste cycle.
Yeah. That is why it is important to extensively communicate with the customers to make a conscious choice, the right choice, and to know the order of skincare products, when to apply, what comes next. So what are the best packaging for skincare products, like starting from the skincare line from manufacturing?
Yeah, so I think like the ultimate gold standard would just be producing and consuming less stuff, like knowing that what you're buying is the right thing for you, having it be in a quantity that you use up all of it before you get something else, and you're able to either refill it or repurpose that packaging. I would say for the actual packaging itself, there's no right answers. It's really complex. You know, we use glass, but sometimes glass, depending on where you live, is not easily recycled, even though we give people instructions on how to use it. Sometimes, depending on what the product is, like recycled plastic might be a better alternative. I'm a huge fan of aluminum as well. If there is a gold standard, I would say instead of it being recyclable, it should be biocompatible, you know, this packaging that dissolves or you can plant or kind of degrades into the environment, because our recycling system is not uniform. It varies greatly depending on where you live. It's even more complicated in skincare, because if you have just a tiny bit of product left in your package, it can contaminate all the recycling and ends up in the trash anyways. So I feel like we can't fully rely on recycling. But I know there's huge efforts in the industry, as I think there should be, around material innovation in packaging, because I don't think that there are still a lot of great options. There's a lot of pros and cons to like any option that you look at.
I see. So it's really important to pay attention to the ingredients as well, not only the containers of the skincare products.
Oh, I think it's so important to pay attention to ingredients and how ingredients are sourced and where they come from. You know, there's a lot of instances where natural might not always be better. Maybe it takes a lot of resource to farm that. It takes a lot, you know, like rose is often an example that takes a lot of energy to like extract what you need from that material. That I think, sourcing is really important too. What's in the formulation, what package it's in, but it's really on the brands themselves to educate the consumers on these things. It's really hard, I think, for consumers to find that information sometimes, because everyone really, all they say is like, our boxes are recyclable, but they're not really talking about the full like product life cycle, as I was mentioning.
It's not in details.
Most companies know.
If the brands would like be more transparent and report about it, like from where the ingredients were sourced, the whole process.
Fully agree. Yeah.
So when it comes to skincare ingredients, what are the ingredients that do not match?
A lot of this type of educational content at Atolla. I'll caveat and say that if a product is formulated to have 2 ingredients in it, then usually like the formula is king. If the chemist can combine, for example, like niacinamide and AHA, BHA in the same formulation, usually they're designed to work together, but that pairing on its own, for example, they have different optimal pHs. So sometimes when you layer them together, then they render each other inactive. There are a lot of general rules like that, especially for a lot of the stronger active ingredients. So, you know, you don't usually want to use a retinol and like a salicylic acid at the same time in your routine, because it might actually make your skin have adverse reactions. It might be too much. It's pretty nuanced still. We actually built an entire tool at Atolla that uses algorithms to help people figure this out. So you upload the products and we'll tell you, oh, don't use this at the same time in your routine. Use this in the morning, this at night, or these two are fine to use together, because again, it greatly like varies. But yeah, in general, I would say usually use only one strong active at a time. And that will give much better results to do that consistently than try to have an 8-step routine where you have all different types of acids and retinols. Like, you're probably going to mess up your pH doing that and make any skin issue actually worse, not better.
True. Less is better and balanced.
Yeah, and it actually helps you see what's working. If you add 8 things, you can't figure out if one of them isn't working. You're like, what is it? I don't know, because it could be one of these 8 things. Whereas if you like have your one main serum or active or prescription at a time and the rest of your products are just supporting that, then it's really easy to see if it's giving you results or not. And if it's like the right dose of the ingredients.
Yeah, simple, better, one at a time. Not to get confused. It's great that you have this, you provide this service, you're guiding the customers what to apply when. And I'm so glad that I've discovered your brand, Atolla. So how do you personalize the skincare products for each individual?
Yeah, so without giving too much away, we actually have a patent on the way that we do this. So the way that we take in data and create custom formulations. Okay. So I'll try to give a high level. Our patent is published. If anyone is curious on diving deeper, I can also send you a link if you want. Okay. But on a high level, we have data. We have a lot of data about skin. We have like over 2 million data points about skin from people doing our quiz. And we also send an at-home skin test where people measure their oil, moisture, pH. And we have a whole range of different types of data. And we're starting to see similarities between people and their geographic climate and their lifestyle, etc. Yeah. We use that data to create formulations based on what we think will be best for you and where you live and what your existing routine and your skin needs are. But we also then know what's worked well for people with skin similar to you. So we have this like really strong predictive modeling ability. And the way on the formulation side that it works is that there's not a million infinite combinations. If anyone knows anything about skincare formulations, it's very complex to work with some ingredients like what we work with. So we have a range of bases, actives, and percentages. And all of those like individual components have been tested, and they're just combined in different ways. In kind of like with formulation, like chemistry rules. So it took us about 2 years to develop this system because it is so complex. Obviously, there's a lot of like chemistry we have to follow about what ingredients can be combined at what percentages and what type of bases. But there's a lot of tweaking we can do on an individual level as well. So say, for example, you got a vitamin C serum from us and it started at a lower dose on month 1. We'll see how your skin does with that, and we can either, you know, adjust the dose so you go up to like X%, or maybe as the seasons change, you actually switch from a water base to an oil base. There's like a lot of tweaks that we make, and it works like a giant feedback loop where the data we bring in tweak and adjust the formulation within the constraints of the rules to kind of optimize for what your skin needs.
I see. That's great. That's a lot of procedure. And
it is a lot, yeah.
Do you have skincare experts, dermatologists, estheticians who are reviewing as well?
Yeah, we have all of the above. So I'm fortunate to have an amazing dermatologist co-founder, Dr. Ranella Hirsch, who I know you're familiar with. She leads all of our R&D. So she's choosing all of the ingredients. She's working on like new product development. We have teams of chemists and like R&D engineers that we work with as well. And we also have estheticians on our staff who are really like the human touch to the data side. So they can help like review the formulations, review that with our customers, so our customers can make free appointments with estheticians to talk about their skin needs, how Atolla fits into their broader routine. And so it's kind of, again, yeah, we make personalized products, but we also offer this whole other side of the personalized support, like helping you piece together the right combination of products and have insights, as I mentioned, even if you use non-Atolla brands, like you use another sunscreen, because we don't make sunscreen, you use an eye cream from this brand, we'll help you figure out how to combine it successfully together.
That would be very helpful. I should try your products, actually.
Yeah, I'll send you a code so you can try it. Yeah, we focused a lot on education because the reason that we created this company is because I was in that situation where I was having reactions on my skin and I was like, what am I doing wrong? I'm having a really hard time figuring it out because I was just buying products and throwing them away if they didn't work. And that's how I realized this is so wasteful and there could be a more scientific way to approach this. Skin's an organ, is affected by a lot of different things. What if we actually just measured that and figured out what was going on?
That's a common issue, actually, and it's good that you have come up with this idea to solve this problem, and best of luck. So last question.
Okay.
All right. What's the difference between blue beauty and green beauty? There's this emerging term of blue beauty.
Yeah. So again, I think anything in the sustainability realm, whether it's green beauty, sustainable, clean, they all have different like definitions depending on who you're talking to. So it makes it really complicated. So I'll give what I think are the definitions, but again, I don't think there are uniform definitions for any of these things. So to me, green beauty is focused on like broad sustainability, both in terms of ingredients, as we were talking about, thinking through like how are ingredients sourced. I think of brands in the green beauty space as being very conscientious about ingredient sourcing, choosing their ingredients, how they're processed, packaging and materials as it pertains to their environmental impact. Blue beauty, from my understanding, has a much more specific agenda. Even from its name, I think one of their core issues is plastic and coming up with plastic alternatives and combating plastic waste, because I think like 8 million tons of plastic go into our oceans every year. And so brands that are blue beauty, I think specifically focus on plastic alternatives. I've seen a handful of brands come out that have like plastic-free packaging or capsules, and I really focus on specifically how some of these issues pertain to like our water systems or how this like plastic ends up in our oceans.
Yeah, logically, that's why it's called blue beauty. So.
Yeah. But I think they overlap a lot because I think the objective is the same, which is like, as brands, how can we minimize our environmental impact? And I think it's great that brands are taking the onus of that responsibility because, like I said, you are creating an impact anytime you make a product. So it's really up to brands to ask themselves, like, does this product need to exist? If it does, how can I make it as environmentally friendly as possible if I am going to like use the energy and resources to create this product?
And there are a lot of emerging indie skincare brands that are also very much paying attention to environment and impacts of skincare products on the environment, and luxury mainstream skincare products as well.
Yeah, I think I know. I've seen a lot of the big brands have initiatives for what they're targeting as far as like reducing their plastic or, you know, trying to change their packaging. Again, I think that if everyone in the industry, whether you're a big brand or an indie brand, is kind of focused on this issue, we'll start to see more innovation around ingredients, materials, because like I said, there's not a ton of great materials out there for like especially like jars or things like that. So I think we'll start to see more and more material innovation in the space, which I think will be great. And then there's companies like ours who are more technology driven, who are working on the other side of that, which is how can we use data and insights to make less products or connect people to the right products so that there's less waste. Like, how do we actually solve the beginning of that equation, which would prevent people from buying and throwing away something that doesn't work for them, regardless of if it has recycled packaging. The core of the issue is that people are buying things that they don't use.
So yeah, the consumers, they need to be guided more and informed to make the conscious choice. And it really depends on a consumer's demands, how the skincare industry will be driven.
Yeah, agree.
And I'm sure it was a great takeaway information for our listeners. And thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise. Thanks for inviting me.
It was my pleasure.
Have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.